It's another week. Good morning. It's coming to you from the Gambia, West Africa. I am Ibrahim Abalde, and welcome to QTV this morning. How was your weekend? My weekend was good. I was expecting it to rain this weekend again, like it rained cats and dogs on Friday. But it didn't rain. And you know, we are expecting it, but the atmosphere, it's really signaling there'll be rain very soon, because it rained and rained in Basse several times.
Yeah,
on this
okay.
platform, I'm with Julden Jai. You're dressing beautifully. The mixture of blue and, should I call it a light green?
Lime
Green.
Yes.
Ah, that's beautiful.
Thank you, Ibrahima. Good morning to you. Good morning to Mr. Adi and to our viewers. It's good to be back to yet another edition of QTV this morning.
Yes.
Good
So
morning to both of you.
morning.
And to the viewers. It's great to be back. And you're right. I mean, the rain, I was ready for it. I had my umbrella. I had my rain boots. And I thought, rain, do your worst.
You were
Luckily,
prepared.
it didn't come. I was prepared.
So I'm also planning to get some rain boots. You know, probably today, if I'm coming from Brufut, I will pass by Serekunda Market, maybe buy one pair of rain boots, because it's important.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
I've got both the kind of short rain boots and Wellingtons, just in case. Because sometimes when it rains, places get so inundated that you can't wear normal shoes
And
and
it's so
navigate
dirty.
them, and they're filthy. You're right. So
Yes.
yeah.
So thank you very much, viewers. We'll take a look at the African Code, then the newspaper review with Mr. Adedrame. And of course, we will also be looking at sports. As you know, big games are coming, and congrats to Cabo Verde. Cabo Verde.
Cabo
Cabo
Verde.
Verde. Mr. Adi's country.
Yeah. I mean, the goalkeeper's mother finally landed in the United States.
She did, and during their game yesterday, which we will discuss when Gajaka joins us to talk about the sports, they kept cutting away and showing her, and
Cheering her son.
cheering her son, and she was
Absolutely.
getting really, really excited.
That's a proud mom.
Yes.
You know. Yeah, so we'll also be International Albinism Awareness Day.
Yes.
We'll be talking to our boy, Secretary Association of Gambia Albinism. We'll be having this conversation here, you know, today. As you know, it's important for us to talk about this, because these are people that are living among us. And, you know, they also have the rights to certain things. I mean, it's just like the right to access a building for people with disability. Sometimes, you know, most of the time people talk about it, but I think it's high time for us to start implementing what is on our law books.
Yes, and in relation to that, not to preempt what is going to be discussed, they had an event over the weekend, Albinism Awareness Day. It's an international one. It's actually on the 13th globally, but they held this event on the 20th.
Yeah.
And we were there, and Awa will come, and she'll talk about that when she comes.
Yeah. So the proverb, the road does not tell the traveler what lies ahead. The road does not tell the traveler what lies ahead. Mr. Adedrame, begin.
Yeah, let me start. I think this tells us that nobody knows the future. You start on a journey. You leave home today. You know, just before I came on here, I read Malik Carr had posted something on the manager's WhatsApp group that there'd been this terrible accident, I think in Ciara.
Oh,
7 people killed.
yeah.
You should, the way you put your words, I mean, you need to be very hurried, because Julda was almost
I was
devastated when you said Malika said there was this.
No, I said he posted on the manager's group.
So Julda
and Malik is somebody who, like myself, we're very kind of conscious about the kind of safety on our roads. And the point I was going to make is that those 7 people left home. None of them knew they were going to meet their death
Exactly.
later that day. And so that is, the future is uncertain. And we keep saying, you know, nobody's promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nobody's promised the next hour or 5 minutes. So the road doesn't tell you, you know, you might see a sign that says this is the road to Brikama. There's no guarantee that you'll get there.
Right.
You may start on it, but it's uncertain. The future is uncertain. I think is what the proverb is trying to tell us.
Yeah. Jordan?
Yeah, it's the same. I think I had the same example in mind because I was so devastated because when I learned that they were all in the same same family, I was like, oh my God, you know. So it shows that, you know, life is unpredictable and it's uncertain. You don't know what comes next, and then we're just blind as human beings. We're just blind. We're just going, and we don't know what is coming next, really. That is why it's good to be prepared wherever you are, to know that the next minute or second is not promised. So live life to the fullest, but live a purposeful life. I think that is very, very important.
I mean, the most shocking one that I have learned of recently, a cousin of mine who lives in the UK, she won't mind me mentioning this. She called me and she was quite shaken, and I said, you know, what's the matter? And she said that she had been speaking to this friend of hers, and she had just sent him a picture of herself. She'd gone to the hairdresser and she had her hair cut very short, shorter than she's ever had it cut. And so she sent the picture to him and said, you know, go on, what do you think of me? I look a bit like a boy, somebody told me. What do you think? And he didn't answer. And she said, go on, is it that bad? You know, and she kept pressing him, and he didn't respond. And she thought, oh, come on, you know. And so she hung up, and she thought, oh, maybe he got distracted or something. And she called the next day, and the guy's wife picked the phone up and said, actually, whilst he was speaking to my husband, he had a heart attack and died. She was so traumatized. And she called me. She said, you know, what a weird thing. She said, in the middle of the conversation, the guy and that just tells you how fragile life is or can be.
You never know what's coming tomorrow. If we have known what will come tomorrow, we would have planned, I mean, everything, I mean, successfully. If you know, okay, from here, I know what is going to happen, there'll be no mistakes in life. So, in fact, we do not know. You know, our you know, religion will tell you the future, it's only known by God.
And it relates entirely to the proverb that we're looking at. The road doesn't tell you. You know,
So let's delve into the accident that happened on the Sierra Ruth, just at YBK, Yoroberikunda. You know, that's a tragedy, Mr. Adedrame. In fact, you know, when I saw the picture of the little girl, the 7-year-old girl, you know, it really, you know, just if you have daughters, how you going to feel?
I was going to say, as a parent.
Yes, definitely.
Very
unfortunately, the safety of the roads, it's important for each and every person to take heed. You know, sometimes responsibility falls in the hands of us using the roads. We should use the road with, you know, caution. We should be very careful on certain things, especially when you are driving, because all those areas, you have a lot of bends. You cannot see what is in front of you.
They often speed those areas drive.
You know, you sometimes get people who, because they have a timetable that, I have to get by such and such a place by such, and sometimes, because apparently this vehicle originally came from Guinea-Conakry.
It's coming from the Gambia.
It's heading to Guinea.
Heading to Guinea. So they might have a deadline to get to a certain point at a certain time. And, you know, sometimes a lot of these drivers who do these long distance, that's why they always tell them, you know, get adequate sleep. Because sometimes you might be speeding and you actually fall asleep at the wheel. So we don't know what exactly happened.
You see, driving, especially in the night, it's very dangerous. I can remember there was a time I was coming from Basse. You know, I left Basse around 8 p.m. You understand? And coming to Combo here.
Right.
There was a time I was even sleeping on the wheel.
Can
you imagine on the steering wheel? You know, I will sleep to an extent, then realize I'm on the traffic and you understand? Sometimes when vehicle horn me to put down my lights, that's the time I realize I'm on traffic. So I realize this is a very dangerous thing. You understand?
You know,
I mean,
there was a driver that took my mirror away. In fact, I left my lane in the night. I was a bit sleepy. I left my lane, and you know, he took my mirror.
He hit it.
I just had bump.
Wow.
And I checked and I saw my mirror is gone. I said this would have been very dangerous.
Yeah,
So
you're
since
lucky.
that day, in fact, I don't drive to Basse anymore. If I'm going to Basse, I take the bus.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's,
So it's dangerous.
It's
It is.
dangerous. It's dangerous. So I mean,
You know.
So many.
And most of these drivers, they sleep. I can remember too, there was an incident. My dad was coming from Basse. This Gele Gele driver, he was driving and sleeping. So my dad said to him, stop. And he stopped. Dad said to him, come and sit this side and sleep. I will carry us.
okay.
And he took the steering wheel.
Wow.
Yeah.
He brought them up to Combo,
Oh, wow.
then gave him this thing. So the driver was sleeping and snoring
yeah,
in the car.
look at
Exactly.
us.
They
You know,
normally
can
do.
you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
Risky.
Yeah.
It's
so
very risky because
it's
other
really-
passengers might have not have been so brave to say to the person,
Yeah.
you
Yes,
sleep,
yes,
let me
yes.
take
Exactly.
off. Or they might not be able to drive.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, yeah.
And they prefer going at night because then there is no traffic,
There's no
and
traffic.
all that.
But,
So
but-
they prefer, but it's
and
risky.
that also lulls you into a false sense
Yeah.
of like there's security on the road because
Yeah.
oh there's not much traffic. Well, you never
Exactly.
know. It might be an animal passing that you sort of suddenly become aware of, and then boom, you've had an accident. It's really, I mean, this is tragic, as you said.
It is.
Yeah.
Shocking that it's one family that all of these people belong to as well, according to the reports that I saw.
Yeah. So let's we'll take a short break, and after the break, then we'll look at the newspapers. We'll be back. Welcome back. This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Now let's head to the newspapers. On the Point newspaper, the health minister outlines rapid transformation in health sector. It's important for us to take a look at this headline. When I looked at it, I was trying to pinpoint what the transformation is. The health sector, is it really reflecting in our nation's, health system, whether there is adequate transformation, the health sector is going the directions that the citizens expected it will go that way. Although we have new infrastructures that are built across the country, when the health system is concerned. But probably another person will have a different view as to what I'm saying.
Yes, I mean, I don't know many countries where people are satisfied with the health system. So, for example, this morning, just before we came on air, Sir Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, announced his resignation. And one of the things he mentioned was that National Health Service waiting times are the lowest they've been in 17 years. And yet, just 2 days before, people were posting stuff saying, whereas before, you call for an ambulance in an emergency in Britain, believe me, within 5 or 10 minutes, the ambulance is there. But somebody had said that there was an instance where it was an emergency, the ambulance didn't arrive till 4.5 hours later. So it's one incident, so you can't extrapolate that to mean everything. So when you hear the health minister saying there have been improvements, you're right. We've seen hospitals and clinics built in places that didn't have them before. We see places that had never had an ambulance before. They now have an ambulance. But people will still always complain because it will never, ever be enough. And I'm talking about, so the reason I give the UK example is this is something where, or somewhere where you have almost everything that you need, really. For example, because of my age, if I walked into a doctor's surgery or walked into a hospital, I don't have to pay in the UK, as long as you're citizen or you have your right to be there. And when you reach a certain age, you don't even have to pay for drugs. No matter how many drugs I take, if I go somewhere they prescribe, I just take it to the chemist or the pharmacy and they'll give it to me over the counter as long as I have my ID. All of that because, I've paid taxes, national insurance over the years. So, but even then, people, every day you will see and hear people complaining about the health sector there. I had, because of, family matters, I had to interact with the hospitals last year in the UK, and I saw the amount of care that people were giving. And yet, people are always complaining.
Yeah.
So in spite of all the infrastructure, all the huge amount of drugs that we've just had from China donated, people will tell you, I went there and they didn't have this drug, they didn't have that drug, or I had to pay this amount, and it's more than half my month's pay for that particular drug. So it would never satisfy. But things that you can measure, statistics about infant mortality, maternal mortality, those rates are down significantly. There's no argument about that. Although the minister had to go and apologize to the National Assembly because he got the figures wrong. All he had to do was quote the official figures that had been, but he gave some other figure, and he said, you know, this wasn't an attempt to mislead. I just got my...
so I just want to understand, when the minister talked about transformation in the health sector, is he talking about even the private clinics? Are they part of it, or only the government ventures?
He can only speak about government. He can't talk about on behalf of that's why I said, you know, because even the president in his speech the other day mentioned about, you know, places, the things that I've mentioned that didn't have an ambulance before now had and some of these we've covered them, where they're getting an ambulance for the first time since independence. You know, somewhere like that, they will be appreciative of the fact that now we have an ambulance, now we have a local clinic staffed by the government staff. It's not private sector. And we had incidents where we've covered stories where they built the clinic, but they didn't build quarters for the staff who they expected to move there. And so, you know, people agitated and then they built. I remember in Sintet, there was one such where, in fact, the people of Sintet actually put money together to build the quarters for the medical staff. So you have those instances. So all of those are improvements. But believe me, human beings, we will never be satisfied. Even if we got to the stage where we got like UK or these countries in Europe where you can just walk in, get a prescription, there will always be something to complain about. So the improvements are there, but unless they impact everybody, then we will always want more. And that's the way it should be, in a way. You know, we should never be complacent. We should never be satisfied. So yeah, the minister will get up, he'll say, there have been these improvements, but people will say, yes, what about this? What about this? What about that? So we'll always get that.
Yeah, Julda?
So let's move on. Still on the Point newspaper, you have, Barrow urges graduates to innovate for impact at USET's second convocation.
Yeah, one that I followed quite closely because ever since I came here, I was horrified that, you know, for the first few years of me being here, we hadn't graduated any engineers. And so last year they had the first batch of engineers graduate, and then this year. And why do engineers matter? Well, in any country, whether you're building roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, whatever, engineers are part of that. It's not just architects when it comes to building a building. You need engineers, you need civil engineers and so on. Otherwise, what you do is you're importing people to come and build your roads and your bridges and all these things. And that's expensive because you have to pay them the kind of expat fee. You have to accommodate them, give them all sorts of allowances for them to bring their families over, first class and all that kind of stuff. You wouldn't have that with somebody who is a Gambian and Gambian trained and graduated engineer. Why? Because they already live here. You don't have all that extra cost. You know, so it is, I mean, so, you know, people might think, oh, you know, engineers, so what? Well, so what is a big deal? Yeah. Because, you know, the more engineers we graduate and the more people who go into this, then, you know, that, because every country develops through infrastructure, connectivity, whether it's, you know, using, you know, the roads or even the internet, you know, all of these.
But,
you know,
but I mean, at the end of the time, Mr. Adedrame, if we graduate these young people, you know, in those fields, we have to make sure we encourage them too. We have to make sure we give them contracts. We have to make sure what they learn, they practice it in this country. Because what I have seen and what I've heard, at some point, people will graduate on a specific field, but there will be no contracts. There will be nothing awarded to them. At the end of the time, they go and explore other areas, or they leave the country. You know, imagine.
No,
I mean, you graduating from the University of the Gambia with your bachelor's degree, and you leave your field. You were supposed to work and benefit the country, but you take the boat and go to Bagwe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure you heard me. There are these contracts, but we're busy giving them to foreigners because we're not graduating our own people. That's the simple
But we
fact.
also have
Yeah.
have that, I mean, mindset. When you give certain things to Gambians, they will not deliver. So
Yeah.
it's better to work with foreigners.
So
if that is going to continue,
then I'm sorry, there's nothing anybody can do about that
Yeah,
unless
so that's the
Gambians
problem.
start changing their minds. And you're right, in a sense, because even the house that I'm building in Sanyang, when I went there the first time, all 6 of the guys, apart from the head builder, is Gambian. The 6 guys were Senegalese. And I said to him, you know, why is this? And that's just a laborer job. It's not a kind of difficult engineering job. And he said, I don't trust my fellow Gambians.
Yeah, that's
and he
the
said
problem.
to me, I mean, you know, we need to get out of that mindset, because he said to me,
that is the problem.
he said
That's
to
what
me,
I'm
oh,
talking
you know,
about.
if I had 6 Gambians here, they'd come in the morning, they'd work for an hour, they'd brew attire, work for another hour, brew more attire. He said, I don't need that. He said, I want people who will work, and then end of the day, if you want to brew your attire, whatever, you shower, you what, you do. He said, but I don't want that kind of constant break. And so we need to get out of that mindset about how we think about Gambians. And of course, you know, at some point, yeah. But some of the people who graduate, they can start their own companies. You know, they don't have to sit waiting for government contracts.
But companies also need someone to contract them.
No, what I'm saying is, yeah, you start your company and then you offer your services and say, these are the services that I provide. Look at the number of unmade roads around the country. There are thousands of them. You know, we have all these main roads that are beautiful and they're nice, but like literally thousands of side roads that are unfinished, unmade, and they're a nightmare. And that's why we're talking about wearing boots and stuff in the rain, because many of these places you cannot navigate them wearing normal shoes, because why? They're not tarred, they're not. You need engineers for that, you know. So, and if you don't have engineers, then it's not going to happen. But so yeah, I mean, for some of them, they can form their own companies, and who knows, one of these people might be the next Mohamed Jah. That when he studied at Frabe College, he got an engineering degree. Look where he is now. You know, that's what they have to think and aim for.
That's what I believe. I mean, I think we should believe in our own people.
Yes.
We should start supporting them and giving them these contracts. I mean, we should give them that confidence that you people can do this. Otherwise, we'll just graduate bunches of them and they'll be just sitting and brewing attire.
Exactly, and that's so common, especially with the graduates at the university. You see someone graduate in one field, and then before you know it, they are doing something else. You know, that is so common.
Yeah.
And then you ask, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, I can't fit.
I
in
can't
the
get it
job
in.
market.
Yeah,
So common.
yeah.
Like the reason why you went to school, you spent 4 years at the university, is at the end of the day to fit in the job market. But again, what there is this question of, okay, the issue of the curriculum itself. Is it training people to actually get them, you know,
Julda, they
before
will
in the
get
job
back to
market
you.
or
They will
not?
get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the problem here. Mr. Adedrame, imagine graduating from the University of the Gambia, and you know, at some point there is nothing like a bigger motivation. At some point, like Julda mentioned, you are not fitting in the job market. Imagine a graduate from the university with all the years that you spent, with the degree that you have, and you are offered probably a salary that, I mean, a salary that doesn't even fit, I mean, your purpose at some point.
Yeah,
So
I think
what
we
will
started
happen?
this conversation by talking about what His Excellency the President said at the USET graduation.
yes.
And one of the things that I had been saying here on QTV, on Q Radio, since I came to the Gambia, is that every time I went to the convocation, you had 150 people graduating with law degrees. You had 120 with accountancy degrees, another 115 with development studies. How many lawyers do we need? How many accountants do we need? And so, you know, if people don't train for the job market that exists in their country, it's fine to get a degree in law or in accountancy and so on. But, you know, I'm sorry, you know.
The lawyers are on TikTok live selling.
You know,
They're selling their businesses on TikTok live.
well,
Now they are businessmen and
well, this is it, and you have to be, and you know, thinking of that, you know, in the UK until about 20 years ago, do you know that lawyers were not allowed to advertise their services? Which it seems stupid now. Everybody else could advertise, oh, I'm a lawyer, come and... The law you know, didn't allow it, you know, until 20 years ago, you know, and I mean, now it just seems silly, like for hundreds of years I couldn't advertise this. So you could put a sign saying this is a law firm and then people could find you, but you weren't allowed to advertise on radio, TV, newspapers, any of that. Bonkers in UK, absolutely mad, you know. But here, you know, and like I said, I've got nothing against lawyers or accountants or people doing development studies, but what is that going to contribute to the market or the development of the country? Of course, we need those people.
Yeah.
But, you know,
you see, at this
point, have more lawyers than we need.
this point, I think Africa, we don't need thousands and thousands of lawyers. What we need is people who are skilled.
We need thousands of engineers.
Skilled workers, engineers. These are the things that we need. You see, the infrastructure of Africa is going to change in the future as we go, because people are seeing things that are happening in other countries. So we want those things to happen in the Gambia. You understand? The other time the president was talking about, I mean, these roads that leads upstairs, you know, those roads that you have in developed countries. So I believe all those things will happen in the Gambia in the future. So we don't want more lawyers, we don't want accountants, but we want people that will come and change, I mean, the way our country looks.
I mean, you go to Guinea-Conakry and Mamadi Doumbouya has this big Simandu 2040 project. And he said, at the moment we have to admit that 90% of the engineers who are running these are Chinese. He said, but in 4, 5, 10 years, I want them to be Guineans, not, you know, not Chinese people. And you have to aspire to that, and you have to build that, because, you know, there has to be that continuity. When the Chinese people go back to China, who's going to build these roads? Who's going to develop them? Who's going to maintenance them? It has to be our people.
So that's the problem we had with the stadium, you know, built by the Chinese. And at the end of the time, that expertise is not there. Everything is dilapidated.
And that's to do with many things, including the kind of this absence of a maintenance culture that you find in virtually every African country. One is embarrassed to say. You know, we build something, it's shiny and new, and then just the simple maintenance and upkeep of it isn't, you know, adhered to, and then slowly you find it gets dilapidated, and then it becomes an embarrassment, and we can't play our football matches there anymore, for want of what? You know, simple maintenance. You know, and that, so that is a key thing. And the next time we build a stadium somewhere in the country, let it be designed and built by, you know, a Gambian. You know, let's throw down that challenge. You know, and we should build proper international standard mini stadiums in every region of this country.
Right.
You know, and who knows, when the national team come, they don't have to always play at the Independence Stadium, because why? We've got a fantastic international quality stadium in Basse. In Jarasoma, wherever, and let people, otherwise if people want to see the national team, they have to come all the way down here? No, should not be the way. You know, let us take this, and we have to,
if you have stadiums that are decentralized, I mean, you can have games even in Woolly.
That's
the
what I'm
national
saying.
team will go play in
That's
Woolly. And the people of Woolly...
And we'll let the people of Woolly
Yeah.
get to see them. And then if the people of Banjul want to go, they can take, because for years everybody else has had to come down here. You know, let us do that. Let us think like that. But I'm not sure that we do. You know, Minister of Youth and Sports, these are some of the things that they should have been using, both himself and people like FIFA, with the FIFA forward money, which we haven't utilized anywhere near in the way that Senegal, Cabo Verde, Mauritania have done. You know, even if we just copied what they did, we'd be miles ahead, and we wouldn't even be talking about Independence Stadium being a problem. You know, but we haven't done it, and the money's there.
Well, what is really the problem, Mr. Adi?
I mean, FIFA kept saying that, you know, if you want to access this money, you have to give us a proper accounting of how every dollar will be spent. But
No,
you mean we can't do that?
Accountability crisis.
This is it. I mean, you mean we can't do that? I mean, I've saved permanently on my hard drive a 7-minute video by the Mauritanian Football Federation about what they did with the FIFA forward money. If you see the fantastic, they built a federation house for the football, They built a stadium, and they built excellent facilities. There's a restaurant, there's a hotel attached to it, all with that money.
Maybe those people
Why
are
can't
more
we do the same?
ambitious.
It's not rocket science,
and more
but it seems to be rocket
nationalist.
science for us. You know, like seriously. I mean, we've
Can you
taken the
imagine
least.
free money?
It's free money, exactly. It's free money. It literally is free money, because that was like phase 1. We're actually on phase 2 or phase 3 of FIFA Forward money, and people can go. There's just type FIFA Forward, and they can tell you how much each country has accessed from the FIFA Forward money since the thing, and ours is one of the least. And you wonder why, when Cabo Verde built a brand new stadium with theirs, you know, and so did Mauritania.
Well, I think it's high time we start thinking of changing our old structure stadium. I mean, maybe we can reserve this for maybe games or the divisional games, but we need a better structure now.
They've upgraded it, and as I mentioned on here last week, I drove by 2 Sundays ago.
Old wine in a new bottle.
Well, yeah, but it can happen. I mean, because sometimes it just needed that extra tweak to bring it up to international standards. Because now, when you say international standards, there has to be a proper media room. There have to be proper facilities for, you know, visiting press, all of that. That's now been incorporated into it.
So we will take a short break, and after the break, then the program's going to continue. We will be talking to our boy, Secretary Association of Gambia Albinism. So Julde will be back. We are back. This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Now let's head to the third segment of this program, and we have our boy, Secretary Association of Gambia Albinism. And of course, we'll be talking about the International Albinism Awareness Day. Awa, it's good to have you on the program. Is this the second time?
Yes.
Yes, you were here sometimes last year.
Yes.
Yes. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, it's good to have you. I will not waste your time here asking you what is albinism, you know, because now I can tell you almost everybody knows what albinism is. But we want to understand what is this year's theme for the celebration.
Okay, thank you very much. This year's theme for the International Albinism Awareness Day 2026 is Proudly in My Skin, celebrating all skin tone. Okay. That's the theme for this year's celebration. Yes.
And why was that theme chosen?
That theme was chosen according, every year's theme is chosen according to the international body, the research or the activities or the investigation that the UN independent expert on albinism do go through the world, because she normally visited other countries, findings about issues of persons with albinism, what are their constraints, and she will report that to the UN body. And according to the report that she is supposed to present on the UN body, is that the report is more of from the albinism associations or organizations, is that most persons with albinism face stigma, face discrimination, and other misconceptions about albinism due to their appearance, physical appearance, that is the color. And from there, we pick that theme, that is Proudly in My Skin, celebrating on skin tune. Yes, that is where the theme comes from, and it is a call for persons with albinism, for them to know that despite all challenges, that despite the misconception and other stigma that people do associated with them, let them feel proud of who they are. Let them not feel otherwise. Let them not be lazy or feeling other things bad about them, despite the challenges, and that's why the pinpointing that people do against them due to their color, due to their skin tone. Let them feel proud and say, I am this.
Mm-hmm.
And
So,
today, I am proud to be a person with albinism.
right.
Yes.
Okay.
Like you mentioned, despite years of awareness on albinism, there are still people living with albinism are still feeling stigma and misconceptions surrounding albinism in the Gambia.
Yes.
So what are the issues confronting people, you know, with albinism in this country, especially with regard to the law?
When it comes to Gambia, to be frank with you, persons with albinism are still suffering when it comes to education. Most of them do not have access to education. Not the physical building, but when we say accessibility, it goes beyond the physical building or the physical accessibility. You can't access the environment. When you go into the classes or the learning institution, are those classrooms, are those facilities accessible for persons with albinism? That is where I am talking from.
What do you mean by access? I think when you talk about access, you need to clarify. We want to understand that.
Yes, accessibility is you can get into the classroom. For example, you can have access to the classroom,
Right.
but can you use the classroom to learn as your other counterparts?
Like the
because there
facilities?
are barriers, like the low visions that persons with albinism do face. Not many teachers understand that persons with albinism have low vision. The child may access the class, but is the child able to participate in classroom works or in other activities due to her low vision, his or her low vision? And the teacher there fails to understand the needs of that child. You will not be perform well. I can give a clear example from myself. When I was a bit younger, grade 1, 2, I couldn't make any effort when it comes to exam because of my low vision. And teachers most teachers don't understand this. They think that the only issue is the fear of the skin, not knowing that we have low vision due
So
to
does
the
it mean
lack
all
of enough melanin in the
people
brain.
with albinism, you know, they have low vision?
Not all have low vision, but 90% or 95% of persons with albinism have low vision, and the vision depends on the amount of pigment present in the eye.
Okay.
Yes.
So in terms of education, in the example you've given, has your organization reached out to the education ministry to say, look, this is something that you need to take on board, work with us, work with the teachers as well, teachers union, to make sure that there is this kind of equal access to that? Has any of that taken place?
Yes, because we are registered under the Gambia Federation of the Disabled, and the federation is working closer with the special need unit to ensure that persons with disability have access to quality education. They train itinerary teachers, though they are not. It's not much. Because last year they trained about 60 people to itinerary teachers. But look, compare that number to the number of schools we have and the number of students with disability in the Gambia. It's definitely there is a big gap when it comes to that. And not only in education, our major problem also is health issue. Because we know that albinism is associated with health challenges, especially in Africa, where the sunlight is getting high every time throughout the day, sunlight. And when you look at the skin of persons with albinism, we do not have enough melanin that can protect us from the UV rays, because this melanin is the pigment that can protect you from the UV rays and give you color. And when you look at persons with albinism, we have little or no melanin, and that is very important in our protection of our skin. And we all know what climate change is, the stage of climate change in the world, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. And this affects persons with albinism, because whenever you are exposed to a higher temperature without a proper protective gears that you apply or you wear in your skin, you have it will have a negative impact on your skin, because the sun will burn you, and at the end of the day it can cause a serious health issue like skin cancer, skin rashes, and prolonged aging.
Yeah.
These are all challenges that we face as persons with albinism in the Gambia.
Yeah, so at the event you organized, there was somebody from the Ministry of Health, there was a doctor there, and that doctor spoke about things like you know, skin cancer and so on. But also there was a table where there were certain skin products that were there for people who had albinism to access free of charge. I just wonder if you could talk us through what some of those skin products were.
Yes, during the event at Goovy Hall, the team from the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, they were there to conduct the skin screening for persons with albinism present there. And this is very important, because when you are screened, you will know your status, you will know what is in you. So whenever they see other things that are not normal, they will refer you to the hospital, because there are some members who are referred to the hospital. They will be going to the hospital to seek further treatment, because they see signs of something like skin rashes and other things that might affect them in the future. Yes, they were there, and they do the screening for persons with albinism for free at no cost. And the other stuff you saw there is the consignments of sunscreen that we get from Africa Albinism Foundation, a foundation in the Netherlands that provide persons with albinism or groups of persons with albinism in Africa for free sunscreen. And with the efforts of MRC Holland Foundation, they ship those consignment for us, and currently they are with us and is given out for free. And that sunscreen also is very important for persons with albinism, because they wear it in their skin before they go out of 15 minutes before they go out of the sun, and it can protect them from the UV rays.
So if somebody from who was not at that event but has the condition, how could they access those skincare products that because it's free when they provide it free? How can they find out?
We took some to the rural areas, that is areas like Basse. We have a focal person there, and we normally give him some screen for people with albinism around that area. And currently also, if whoever wants sunscreen can just contact with their association to get your free sunscreen products. And
is there an association in every district of the country?
Yes, we don't have. We have one association, but we have branches in all these regions. We have branches and we have focal persons in that regions. And some of them, they came from other parts of the country just to join the celebration and get trained.
So let's talk about how society view albinism. How are you fitting in the society? I have gone through some documentaries about albinism in other countries. In other countries, according to what I heard and seen, in fact, they try to ritualize albinism. So do we have that in the Gambia? You walk and fear for your life at some point.
As I am speaking, we have not received any case of attack in the Gambia, but there was one last year that was an attempt but was not successful, because one parent contacted us that two gentlemen came to his house. You know, she normally go out in the morning to sell and leave the younger kids in the house. So the compound was a bit far from the villages, so it's a new settlement. So these people came and they were calling the younger boy with the albinism to ask him that, where is your mother? You see, but for the lady, the mother, She normally asks the children, advise the children that whoever calls you and you don't know the guy, don't go. So when this happened, the boy just ran and called other people, and those people, they run. They ran. Yes.
Yeah. So
and in the Gambia, we haven't had any case of attack, but there are serious misconceptions.
But it's important for you to take caution because you never know. I mean, do not be caught off guard. You never know. So you just have to sensitize more on those things as well.
Yes, we do.
And are there regulatory frameworks there to protect persons with albinism?
Yes, because looking at the CRPD, the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Albinism, is an international framework which the Gambia is a signatory to that convention. And they signed and ratified the document, and they domesticated it with the coming of the Disability Act 2021. This is a framework that protects persons with albinism. We don't have in our own act, but we are looked at in the Disability Act for protection. And there is another international framework that is the Africa Protocol on Disability. That one also is a legal framework that the Gambia has already signed, and they cater for attacks and discrimination on persons with albinism, because that is happening in other countries, and who knows whether it might happen in the Gambia in the future, because nowadays we all know Gambia. People are going, people are coming, so we always advise our people, raise awareness about this issue.
Yes, we're very good at signing and ratifying conventions. When it comes to implementing them, that's a different thing. But just before that, you mentioned in response to one of the other questions, you said there are still lots of misconceptions about people with albinism here in the Gambia. What are some of those misconceptions?
One of the misconceptions is people think that we can make them rich. Most of the time you walk in the street, you will see someone with a nylon bag or with 3 or 4 candles and come and give it to you. Nyanal ma. Can I pray for them? These are misconceptions.
Oh my God.
You see? And this is happening.
But
you will see other people travel from village to village.
Just to look for someone.
Just to look for someone with albinism.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that happens.
That's
That's crazy.
Okay, so that's a bit mad, but not necessarily harmful. Are there some of the misconceptions that directly harm people with albinism?
Some of the misconceptions that directly harm us is that someone will marry you. These are misconceptions, because that they think that you can make them rich when you are married to them. So in the event that you married to them
and they don't
see what they were looking at, you will be the marriage will break off, and who knows what is going to happen within that period. You leave the lady and she will be there struggling. In the event says you have child there, you will leave everything with her. And mothers of children with albinism also, they do face this misconception, this stigma, because we get reports from parents that, especially the mothers, whenever they get child with albinism, you see changes in their marriage, and some will in fact break off their marriage because of the children with albinism. We have so many cases of that. And
they don't know that it's genetic.
They don't know that it's genetic. They don't know that it's genetic. And it's genetic. It's inherited from both parents, who might be the carrier of the gene of albinism. Even they are not persons with albinism. They carry the gene.
So your parents, 2 parents can be without albinism, and they have a child with albinism.
Yes.
Man, the all persons with albinism I'm seeing in the Gambia, they are not born from parents with albinism. They are all born from parents without albinism. But they have the gene. It's an inherited gene from both parents. Must be a carrier. And there is 25 chance in in every pregnancy that the child might come with albinism.
Does that also mean, because you said the people that you see in the Gambia are married, their parents are living with albinism, does that mean that you're also struggling with, you know, having to get married to other people without albinism? Is that also an issue you're facing?
Yes.
Aside from the issue of, okay, if I marry you, I will get rich, do you also have the side of where they say, no, I can't marry this person because she is an albino?
Yes, at times we have it, because there are 2 or 3 of our ladies, someone want to get married to them, but the family members start questioning, why are you marrying this? This one cannot do this one cannot do this. These are all things that we are facing. And they will not end up not marrying them because of the community, or the family criticizing, questioning the guy.
And a lady with albinism can have a child without.
Yes.
Without.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes people don't know these things, you know. But I hope and pray things will change. But what are the different albinisms that we have? The different types?
We have 2 main types of albinism.
Okay. Can you name them?
The first one is ocular albinism. The ocular albinism only affects the eye.
Okay.
But the pigment is in the skin. But when you look at the person, you know that the eye lacks pigment. The person might be black or fair in complexion, but when you look at the eye, you will know that this one has albinism, and not everybody knows that. And the other type of albinism is the oculocutaneous albinism, which has 7 subtypes, depending on the amount of pigment in the skin.
Okay.
Like the one I am ocular albinism class 2. We have 1, 2, 3 up to 7, and this one depends on the amount of pigment present in the body and the eye.
All right. So it's
So
different.
our health
it's all right.
our
Go
health
ahead.
facilities, do we have what it takes to actually differentiate and tell people that you have this type of albinism?
It's not much. Gambia, I can say, when it comes to albinism, the awareness raising is really lacking, because for them, just last week, I met with a senior personnel, someone. He asked me that. I told we were having a conversation, and I was explaining him about albinism and the challenges that they face. I told him that we have low vision. Do you have low vision? Okay, that's why you are wearing these glasses. You see, this is happening. Not many people understand about albinism in the Gambia.
But I think your point is that even within the health sector?
Yes.
That and is the senior person you're referring to, is that somebody who's working within the health sector?
Yes, yes.
Right, okay, just so we understand that even within the health sector, there is that lack of understanding.
Some they understand,
So,
but there are certain people who don't understand.
Who don't understand, yes. So thank you very much, Awa, for coming on the program. And, you know, we wish you all the best of luck. Keep continuing doing your sensitization. Never relent. Nobody can say, okay, I am not going to get a child with albinism. Nobody knows. I mean, it could be any of us. So it's
and
important.
here we hardly do conduct genetic type to know your testing to know that this is my genetic and my partner this is this, and we are prone to not just albinism but even sickle cell. Exactly.
I can remember when I said to one of my friends, please go and know your genetics so that when you are getting married, you will at least know whether you're. He said, how about if I love her? And we go and they said, we are not matching. I'll marry her by force.
And people do that.
You see? Yeah, so
but at least you do it from a position of knowledge and awareness.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll take a short break. And next, sports with Momodu Gajaga. Mr. Adedrame would be here still, and we'll be talking about the past games and the upcoming games. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back after the break. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV This Morning, and I am Ibrahim Abalde. I'm with Julden Jai. Now, let's head to sports. We have Momodu Gajaga in the studios with us. Good morning, Gajaga.
Morning, Ibrahim Abalde. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Talk sports, man. I mean, the past games, we've seen Cape Verde drew, you know, other games happened. Saudi Arabia played. And Saudi Arabia played against Spain. And it was 4-something, right?
4-0.
4-0. I mean, you know, how is the World Cup transpiring so far?
Fantastic. Beautiful games. The African contingent in the World Cup have been doing very well, except for a certain Tunisia who have become an embarrassment for African football. Their performance have really fallen below par. One wouldn't expect them to go as far as possible in the World Cup, but at least a respectable performance. But both matches they played so far have been in shambles. They lost the first match 5-1, and the second one, again, a high margin scoreline. So it's really kind of unbelievable. The players, the coach, in fact, they had to replace the coach after the first game. So the second coach now in the team is also about to resign immediately after the World Cup, would step down because he kind of feels, you know, this is not a team of players that I can put together and, you know, win something or go further. Yeah, it was that bad. It was really, really terrible.
I watched their first game and I described them in my report as looking like 11 strangers who'd never met before. There was no cohesion to their play. They lost to Sweden. They made Sweden look like Argentina. I mean, you know, and Sweden, of course, in their game, next game, they lost 5-1. And that tells you how bad Sweden are, you know, and yet they made Tunisia look dreadful.
So what happened to Tunisia? Because Tunisia used to be a very strong football team.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know for the past years, because even in the AFCON, Gambia beaten Tunisia at some point. Imagine.
Yeah, well, you can, I mean, if you look at the current team, and if you were to take them as individuals, many of them play at very high level in Europe, particularly in the top leagues, in the Premier League, La Liga, Ligue 1. But sometimes that doesn't always make a team. Now, if you go back to 2002 World Cup, France came into that as defending world champions.
And Senegal beat them.
Senegal beat them, and they ended up losing all their games. That's France, you know, packed full of team players who played for Juventus, Arsenal, you name it, Barcelona. And yet, so sometimes just having individuals doesn't make a team, you know? It's how you meld them together. And look at Cape Verde. Cape Verde are embarrassing all these other African countries. The spirit with which they play the game, the tenacity, the kind of never say die attitude. I watched the BBC yesterday, and I said this morning, before they went on air, they asked all the pundits, give us a prediction. And they said, well, they were lucky against Spain, but we expect Uruguay to win. Every one of the four in the studio said 3-0. So Uruguay would be the score. We all know it didn't happen that way. It ended up 2-2. And when they went 2-1 down, again, the pundits didn't look at the evidence in front of their eyes. They were saying, oh, Uruguay will now go on and win maybe 3-4-1 or 5-1. Because soon after, Cape Verde equalized. You know, so that's the spirit that has been missing from Tunisia, to answer that question in a kind of long-winded way. You know, what's gone wrong with Tunisia?
Yeah. So, Gaj, I would really love to know, why is Nigeria not part of it?
They didn't qualify. They are not good enough. Just like the Gambia were not good enough to be part of the World Cup.
They have this Osimhen. They have all those, I mean, players.
Yes, sir. But they finished, you know, second in their group and couldn't
Nigeria
make it.
didn't qualify. Cameroon did not qualify. These are big guns
in African football.
In African football, you know, Cameroon.
It can be funny sometimes.
Yeah, and Cameroon came 4 points behind Cabo Verde in the same group. So it wasn't like, you know, anything tripped them up. And then you have the likes of DR Congo, who had to go through the whole playoff route. And look how well they've played in this World Cup. So, you know, some of the teams have done us proud, but Gaj is right. Tunisia have been the ones who've let us down. You can lose a game, but it's the manner in which you lose.
You cannot lose to that extent.
It's not just the scoreline. It can be the you know, sometimes a team can win 5-1, and although it might sound ridiculous, they might get lucky. They might be just their 4 or 5 shots on target, and they scored with all of them. But nonetheless, you put in a creditable performance. But Tunisia haven't done that. They've not played with any spirit, any verve, and
You think Senegal is going to triumph again?
Yeah, Senegal, of course, they have the chance to bounce
Norway.
back from what happened to them against France. They're facing Norway in their second game. Norway, of course, started explosively in their first game. So they will be expected to kind of make it difficult for Senegal, because with a point, maybe they already guaranteed a place in the second round. That's the round of 32. But Senegal, of course, have to win this game in order to have any chances of qualification, because, of course, they have a third game, but they lost their first game, the opening game to France by 3 goals.
They have to win this.
They have to win it.
Really.
They have
to give themselves a chance in the third game.
Otherwise,
Norway have already won, and Haaland already.
If
all
they
the big
lose
guns.
this, the third game they have to win more points, right?
No, I mean you only get 3 points for winning. Okay. So if you lose this, it means you can only get 3 points in that. I mean, 3 points might take you through, because there might be instances where in one particular group the team that is third only has 2 points.
2 points,
or 1 point. So 3 points could potentially, so you could win one game and go through to the next round. But it's better. You don't want to leave it to chance like that. But they're going to have a tough game against Norway, one would expect, as you would expect.
And Egypt made history by winning their first World Cup game for the very first time. They've been in the World Cup, longer than any other African team.
First African team to make it to the World Cup.
To the World Cup.
But they never won a match within the World Cup.
Oh, really?
Until yesterday.
Yesterday, they won against New Zealand.
Since
by
they
3
started
goals
the
to
World
1.
Cup.
They've never won. They've never
won a single game.
Yeah. I had that in one of my reports.
Wow.
They'd never won a match. And
That's
Zico, Salah and Trezeguet scored the 3 goals. They found themselves behind against New Zealand. New Zealand have played with real tenacity in this World Cup. So even yesterday when they lost, people still had respect for New Zealand. And that's the kind of thing, that's what's missing with Tunisia. New Zealand ended up losing 3-1, but nonetheless they put in a really spirited performance and they led. I think they scored in the 15th minute. And then Egypt equalized through Zico, and then Salah, and then Trezeguet got the third goal.
And
now, what is the fate of Tunisia?
They're going home.
They're going home. They're just waiting for their third game to play as a mere formality. Even if they win by 1,000 goals, they're still going back.
They're going home.
so are they going to be the first African country to go home?
They are.
Yeah, of course. They are already. In fact,
Already.
they're already knocked out.
Yeah.
So mentally,
But they have to honor the
mentally,
fixture
They have
of
to,
the-
you can't say, we're not playing this last game.
Last game,
You have to.
The Ghana game was really hot
Yeah.
when Ghana played last time.
They
against
were
Panama.
lucky against Panama.
Panama is a
Yeah,
good
but
team.
both teams were rubbish in
They
terms
were-
of
they were
play.
dreadful.
In terms of play, but
I
they,
mean,
they
shambles.
defended very well.
Oh, who that?
Both teams.
Yeah, both teams defended well, but very disjointed.
Disjointed. The
Performance.
passings were not good enough.
And in terms of skill, actually Panama demonstrated more skillful
Yes.
football than Ghana. And if I was Panamanian, I'd be really mad that we lost that game, because Ghana were rubbish. I mean, much as I wanted them to win, and I want all the West African countries to do well, but they were dreadful. And if they carry that nonsense onto the pitch against England, they'll get slaughtered. They really need to change their game, and up their game. But I saw one of the players saying that sometimes you need that, like a kind of wake-up call, that we can't play that badly again and expect to win. So let's see.
And Iran, with all the struggles that they've been through, politically getting bombarded here and there, left, right, and center, and eventually, controlling the Strait of Hormuz. But that's political. But on the pitch, they did very, very well. Drew their first game, second game against Belgium also.
Yeah, they drew.
Yeah, it ended 0-0, and Belgium eventually got a defender sent off.
And to be honest, Iran seemed scared to push for the win.
Yes.
Because
that's what I understand.
Because Belgium had a man sent off. And they didn't seem to want to try and make the one-man advantage that they have count. They just were kind of just content to just play it out and make sure that Belgium didn't score. It could have been embarrassing for them. They should have tried to go for it, but they didn't. But for them to get 2 draws is fine because of all the nonsense that they've had to put up with, because of all the rubbish that the Americans have thrown. Or you have to fly in and fly out. No, I mean everybody else. No one else is subject to that kind of rubbish.
So why should that happen?
No, because it's America. You know, they're the only ones who can get away with nonsense like that. You know, saying that, you know, you have to fly in on the day you're playing the match. No, teams should be able to come in.
At least relax
The day before or night before, whatever. Go and use the pitch the day before, acclimatize yourself. No, come on. It's a really, really unfair thing. They've said they're having talks about it so that it doesn't carry on, at least for the next match.
It's happening.
But it's happening right now, and it's happened for the 2 games that they've played so far. But Gaj is right. You know, thumbs up to them for the fact that they've been able to overcome all that nonsense, and they've still managed to come up with 2 creditable draws against, you know, good teams. Yeah.
So this morning I've seen a release that Yankuba Minteh said there should be a boycott on the, you know, playing until when our national stadium is done and, you know, approved by FIFA. Is that the case?
Yeah, it's authentic. He did an interview with Fode Mane, who used to be on internship here, one of our own.
Yeah.
Big journalist now, especially on social media, you know, breaking news about Gambian players, their transfers. Yeah, he had an interview, exclusive interview with Yankuba Minteh, talk about a lot of things representing the Gambia, how passionate he is in football, where he wants to get through. But this particular interview, when they reach at that part to talk about the Gambia national team and Minteh saying that he instigated a boycott to play for the national team, I'm like, wow. I think that's really big. I saw a lot of support for it on social media. Yeah. You know, outraged by the fans who felt the stadium, it's been, you know, too long waiting for the renovation work to be completed and the stadium gets approved. Finally, Gambia starts playing home. It hasn't happened for the last 4 years plus. So I think the players, yes, are not happy about it, but you don't, as a young player coming up, yes, he has reached the Premier League level, but talking about those kind of things, you know, instigating. Players usually just focus on the pitch. Yes, if they're not happy with something like their bonuses, they're not happy about certain things, they could talk about it maybe internally. But in an interview like that, I think that was explosive. But, you know, you have divided opinions about it. Some people said, you know, Minteh, you're right. What you did is fantastic. We support you.
And most people were not expecting it to come from a quiet Minteh.
Yeah, but basically he did. Let's see how it goes.
People change when the situation changes. Minteh is now a Premier League player, and he probably feels that he can say and do such a thing. It's unprecedented for a player to say such a thing, that you're going to boycott the national team because we're not the only country in Africa that is under that sort of suspension, and it's got nothing to do with really. So what, you're not going to play away games either, or is it just the games? Because if you're saying I'm not playing the games that are designated as our home games, are you then making yourself available for the ones that are away games? It's absolute nonsense. Mr. Man, stay in your lane. You know, this is not your business about whether the stadium is right or not. And those who support him, I don't know, what, because it's Minteh? So we all these guys boycott and we lose 10-0. Are they going to be happy? Seriously? Wow. Then I'm really shocked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I cannot support that. And he should not have said it.
Yeah.
You know, I hope he was misquoted.
Sometimes frustration can let you.
Of course, frustration can get the
things.
better of things, but you need to check yourself. And for the Mane should have gone back to him and said, you know what, are you sure you want me to go with this? You know, but then other players have come out and said they support him as well. But that's, you know.
So let's see how it goes. You know, but it's high time we start doing something. You know, in our stadium as well.
It's long overdue.
It's long overdue, man.
For me,
so what do they want now? They want us to grow old and still die while we did not have some home games? What do they want now?
Well, it's been embarrassing, man. Not to play matches at home. Yeah. It took so long. It should have been like maybe a 6 months thing, or maybe for the longest time it should be made not more than a year to renovate a stadium and get it approved for. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a back and forth.
Absolutely.
Back and forth.
And the only good thing you could say is that if him and the other players make good their threat, then this will be the wake-up call to the authorities that, hey, you know, we need to address this quickly. And maybe that's why people are supporting them, because they think that this will be the electric shock that will make these people think, hang on a minute, this is serious. These are some of our best players saying they're not going to represent their country, not going to represent the national team until this is fixed. We need to fix it as soon as possible. And maybe it will work. Maybe that's the kind of electric shock therapy that the authorities need to make it happen, because, as again Kaj says, it has been overdue, long overdue. They've dragged their feet and so on. And you wonder why they haven't seen this as an urgent priority. I just don't get it. How many years now? Come on. It's unforgivable. Yeah.
So what are the upcoming games?
Yes.
And how far with South Africa?
Well, they drew their second game.
Yeah, they drew their second game. They're still within a chance. If they win their next game.
If they win their next game, they go through to the next round.
South Africa is going home.
Outcast
Yeah.
of Africa.
They are going
They should have gone on, but
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're still hanging
to
on
go
there.
to go and protect.
So
their
we've also seen Boyo Field named after former Minister of Agriculture,
Oje Jallow, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have almost all the facilities up and running there now.
Yes, yeah, it has a basketball
And you were
court.
telling me what that field used to look like
Yes.
before the
The
renovation.
name
Yes,
tells
so
you
the name.
Boyo.
So the name Boyo means
Boyo.
dust.
Dust.
Yes, dusty
Yes.
place.
Yeah, quite.
It used to be terrible,
yes.
dreadful. So during the rainy season, if it rains, it used to be muddy and quite a place where kids would come there and play football. They enjoy themselves during the rainy season or in the dry season. But now it's been completely transformed, and I think we could be critics every time about government not doing this, like we did about the stadium. But we can also give credit for that magnificent renovation, and it makes it look new completely.
And not only is it renamed, it was His Excellency the President who was there to inaugurate.
It was there. I have seen his basket shots too. Well, he couldn't score. I mean, I think he's better in football than basket.
Stick to football.
Yes, I think he should stick to football.
Stay in your lane.
Well, that one is not easy. Even myself.
To throw a ball.
During my school days, I tried more than 100 attempts. I couldn't.
You cannot.
So always either I go a little bit high, hit
the rim or whatever. But so what are the facilities that we have there now?
Yeah, so there's a basketball court where you could also do outdoor volleyball, and then there's the football pitch, perimeter fence, and there's a pavilion as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
And also you can even on the volleyball court or the basketball court, you can also play handball there as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So now the problem that we're going to have is maintaining the facilities. You understand?
Yes, for me that's the issue.
We have seen
and it's
Serekunda,
grass pitch,
Serekunda East.
which is difficult to maintain in the Gambia.
Mr.
And in fact,
Ade,
it has never been maintained in the Gambia.
we have
That's
seen
why we're in this mess about the stadium.
people can do anything. Serekunda East, if you go there, behind, the offices, people urinate all over. Some people, go to toilet all over. So those
really
are
bad.
things that we should stop as a people.
And then there are toilets. In fact, I saw cleaners cleaning the toilet
of course.
there. So why would you
Of course.
want to go in the open space and use
Yeah, so we've exhausted this time.
Oh,
thank you, Mr. Ade.
So
Thank you,
anyway,
Gajaga.
Senegal upcoming game. Ghana playing England tomorrow.
Okay.
But Senegal have to win their match to kind of hang in
We are
there.
going to win Holland.
Inshallah.
and the world champions Argentina, or if you like Argentina, will play against Austria at the 5 p.m. kickoff.
That's right.
Thank you. So viewers, this is all we have for today. Please enjoy the rest of our programs. We'll be back here again tomorrow for another edition. Until then, bye-bye.